on Bobby Gunn. It's a pretty interesting card, as we alluded to. We talked about it at the top of the hour. David Feldman Promotions, he's putting on the card. It's PPV at the Chase Center in downtown Wilmington. David, kind enough to join us. David, Rich Quinones, Rob Scott, always good to touch base with you, my friend.
What's up, gentlemen? How are you guys? Thanks for having me tonight.
What's going on?
We're doing well. And listen, first and foremost, I know it's got to be a trying time for you. Everyone here at Double Jab podcast, myself, Rob, Ray McCline, the Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame, certainly condolences and thoughts and prayers to you and yours with the passing of your father. And I know, such a character and a mainstay around Philadelphia and boxing. And I know you've got a heavy heart going into this card on Friday. So again, we certainly thoughts and prayers with you and yours, and certainly appreciate you making time for a couple moments.
Thanks a lot, Rich. It really means a lot. He was an icon in boxing, especially in this area. A gentle giant, a great guy, and I appreciate the kind words. And yes, it's not going to be an easy road, but we'll get through it. He taught me and my brother to be fighters, so we're going to fight to the end, like he did. And we're going to put on a hell of a show Friday night, and looking forward to it.
How's everything going as far as ticket sales? How's everything going as far as the fighters? How's everything going as far as the whole promotion?
Ticket sales are going good. The fighters are, they're all here. Working on one fighter that just actually got in a car accident on the way to the airport on one of the undercard fights, so we're working on a replacement for him right now. But it's looking good. Ticket sales are moving. It looks like it's going to be a very solid crowd. The pay-per-view, we're getting a lot of play on that. They don't generally really buy it until the day before and the day of, but we're getting a lot of inquiries from the local cable companies about it. They said they're getting a lot of phone calls about it. It's a very affordable price tag at $24.95. Less than half of what normal pay-per-views are. So it's very intriguing because you have a living legend, Roy Jones Jr., who is one of the best fighters to ever lace up a pair of gloves at the end of his career against a former cruiserweight champion, Bobby Gunn, but really known right now for the bare knuckle. And he's becoming a bare knuckle legend, and he is it's intriguing because people want to see what the bare knuckle guy can do against a legend, and we're all going to see on Friday night. And we encourage everybody to contact your local cable company or satellite provider. Grab that pay-per-view. It's going to be one hell of a night.
Do you think, David, when you mention Bobby Gunn, and again, that's going to be him and Roy Jones Jr., that'll be the main event of a pretty stacked card. We'll get into the undercard in a moment for the vacant WBF World Cruiserweight title. You mentioned Gunn with the bare-knuckle boxing background. As a pro, he's 21-6-1, so he's had some wins. You look at Roy Jones Jr., certainly not the fighter that the fighter that we've grown accustomed to. Father Time catches up. He's taken a couple losses here and there. I know he's won 8 out of his last 9. Not really notable opponents per se, but he's still Roy Jones Jr. And I think if people have an opportunity to go see him, you take advantage of it, especially in our backyard. I'm just wondering, though, if Bobby Gunn were to win this fight, do you think it helps the sport of bare-knuckle boxing where someone's going to say, hey, listen, how about this transition? You got a guy who's won 70, 71, 72 fights. He's undefeated as far as bare-knuckle boxer. He comes in the ring with over 30 pro fights, and then what does he do? He beats or knocks out a living legend of Roy Jones Jr.
I mean, I think it doesn't. It puts bare-knuckle boxing on the map because then everybody's going to say, oh, the bare-knuckle guy beat Roy Jones. It doesn't matter what Roy Jones it is. They're going to say the bare-knuckle guy, because they may not remember his name, but they're going to say the bare-knuckle guy beat Roy Jones. So when we launch this in June, our first legal sanctioned bare-knuckle card, people are going to have a lot more. We're going to have a lot more eyes on it. People are going to be talking about it a lot more, and they're going to be a lot more interested in it. So yes, absolutely. That was the whole premise of really doing this fight, was to increase the excitement about and the awareness about bare knuckle.
Rich and I, we were talking earlier about some people who may remember the Roy Jones of old, and they compare and contrast the Roy Jones of old with the Roy Jones of now, and they want to say that well, why is this fight happening, and so on and so forth. But I was just telling Rich that I think that it's not like Roy's fighting Lebanon. I think that they're evenly matched to a point where a good show is going to happen come Friday night. As far as Roy, if Roy was to lose, what do you think? How do you think that his legacy? Do you think that him fighting on, basically, bottom line, is hurting his legacy at all?
You know, you can't really say, you know, if it's going to hurt his legacy yet. Because, look, if he loses, and he loses a close fight, and you know something happens in there. Look, if he goes in there and gets blown out by Bobby Gunn, the bare knuckle champ, it probably does hurt his legacy. Yes. But I just left Roy Jones actually about right before I got on this interview. He was sitting down eating dinner, and he told me he's never felt better in the past 5 years. He didn't really train for the last 2 or 3 fights he had. He said he's trained harder than he's ever trained, you know, since he can remember. And he told me, he said, I'm knocking Bobby Gunn out. And I said, well, look, you know, Glenn Johnson hit him with everything in the book, and he couldn't wobble him. Yeah. So, you know, that's a hard task. And he said, Dave, I'm knocking Bobby Gunn out. So, you know, he seems like a more motivated Roy Jones right now. He just really seems motivated. I think it's even more because of the naysayers right now.
Yeah, I'm shaking my head. I agree 100%.
Well, I don't think that once great, always great. That's my.
Yeah, but
my
here's the thing, though. You don't want to sit here in a couple years and talk about this fight like some people just remember Terry Norris and Sugar Ray Leonard. You know, because he's such a prideful and he's won so many championships and so many belts, and he's an all-time great. You're right. There's a pride there. Listen. They hear. They listen. They know what's going on. I'm interested in, again, a couple minutes with David Feldman putting on a good card Friday night. David Feldman of Promotions, Roy Jones Jr., Bobby Gunn for the vacant WBF World Cruiserweight title. How about the undercard of this one? Kenneth Aslam, 20-0, or 22-0, I'm sorry, undefeated super welterweight. Frankie Santos de Alba, good southpaw as well, 20-2. You know, he's going against a veteran. You got a pretty good undercard, Joey Tiberi with the Tiberi name in Delaware. So how about the undercard itself? I mean, you got some pretty good fighters on that card as well.
It's a stack. Some of the names we have: Sam Taya, 10-1, a real up and comer. I think he's going to really be making some noise pretty soon. He just scored a hell of a knockout over David Gonzalez.
Yep.
We actually we have that. We have like you said, Frank Diaba. I think he's about to crack the top 10. And Kenneth Islam. I mean, Kenneth Islam was just offered to fight with Canelo right before they signed with Julio Cesar Chavez. I mean, this guy is the real deal. He can't even walk across the street in Kazakhstan. He's a superstar, and he wants to improve his greatness this Friday night. But, you know, the undercard's great. It's going to be a great night. We also have living legends in attendance: Larry Holmes, Tim Witherspoon, Michael Spinks, and Tyson Fury will all be in attendance at the fight. It's going to be a great night of fights. It's going to be a great night of excitement, and we're just looking forward to it. But I'm personally looking forward, as a fan, to watch Bobby Gunn versus Roy Jones, because it's the question mark. You just don't know what to expect. You don't know what Bobby Gunn to expect. You don't know what Roy Jones to expect. So what's going to happen, you know? I'm very intrigued by it.
That's intriguing to me as well. Like I said, you know, some people will look down on it, and because they're looking at it from a like, well, where are they going from here stance. Like, you know, they're going to go for a major championship after this, you know. But I'm worried about that on fight night. Fight night, are we going to see a good fight? And I think that matching those two together, I think that we're going to see a decent fight that night. But what, you know, as far as your connection with Roy Jones, is this a one shot deal, or you and Roy Jones are going to go further?
I think that I'm just really looking forward to the fight as well. I actually didn't hear the last part. I'm sorry that we broke up.
No, I said your relationship with Roy, is it a one shot deal, or is it
I really didn't know if it's a one shot deal or not until they came up to me tonight and said that they're going to fly out next week after the fight, and they want to talk business.
Okay.
So, you know, as you mentioned at the top of the show, you know, my dad passed away yesterday, and you know, I have some tremendous shoes to fill, and I intend to fill those shoes, and I think that, you know, the business that I'm doing and the name that I'm making for myself and carrying on my family legacy is filling those shoes, and I just look forward to being the loyal the loyal guy with a bunch of morality that my dad always taught me, and I think that's what's making guys like Roy Jones say, let's do some more business. So yeah, I think make a long story short, I think we're going to be doing some more business. At the same time, it was great to, it was a great honor to say, look, everybody, he'll fight for anybody one time he wants to make money. But for him to say before the fight even happened that, hey, I had a real enjoyable ride so far, let's see if we can come back. I think, it speaks volumes for me, and I'm happy. I am patting myself on the back. I'm allowed to once in a while.
There's nothing wrong with that. Hey, listen, last one from me, and again, appreciate extend a couple moments because we know you got so much on your plate. How about moving forward and the relationship or the potential budding relationship, the involvement with the Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame, and what Ray's doing and how we're really trying to preserve the history of Atlantic City boxing. Talk a little bit about that. What are potential plans, maybe a partnership or just a relationship going forward?
It's great. Ray is just one heck of a man. He's a great guy. He's a man of his word, the kind of guy that I would like to do business with. And they asked me to come in to help a little bit with them, with some different models of how they're going to incorporate this thing. I think they have a rock solid plan, and I'm looking forward to seeing whatever I can add to that and just making this an explosive event. I mean, the initial inductee class is just unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not for a state Hall of Fame, not for a national Hall of Fame, but for a city Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I mean, this is huge. They did some great things, and I'm so proud to, that they even invited me to be involved, and I can't wait to show them what I can do. And so like I said, so we can all come together Memorial Day weekend and put on one hell of an event in Atlantic City, and hopefully help revitalize boxing in Atlantic City.
Yeah, well said, well said.
Well, this is Rap Scott. I just I want to thank you for being involved with everyone here at the Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame, and I wish you a whole lot of luck and a lot of blessings for next Friday and the Roy Jones fight. And bottom line is you have our support, and also again I want to piggyback off of what Rich said as far as your father goes. For myself and my family and the whole Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame family, that our condolences go out to you. But again, best of luck come Friday. I know that you're going to have a hellified show.
Yeah,
it's going to be great. And just allow me to throw my plug in.
Yes.
FirstStateFights.com. If you don't have your tickets, get them at FirstStateFights.com. And like I said, contact your local cable provider or satellite provider to order this pay-per-view. I mean, it's $24.95. We're not asking for a lot of money. Sit home on a Friday night, grab a bowl of popcorn, and watch two legends in the ring, bare-knuckle legend versus boxing legend. It's going to be a great night, and we're all excited to be involved. And, like you said, we have a stacked undercard, so it's an exciting night. We encourage everybody to come out and be a part of this with us.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this, on a side note, full disclosure, I appreciate the opportunity that you're giving me to call the fights as well with Mark Abrams. I know we're going to have a blast doing it, so certainly humbling opportunity for me, so I appreciate you and trusting me with that, those duties.
Oh, man, it's a pleasure. I mean, we worked together in the past, Rich, and I actually wanted to use you at first, and there was just something going on with something that I was doing with bare knuckle, and I wanted to go a different direction for a completely different reason. But the whole time I said, man, I need Rich in this. I need Rich. And then I committed.
All right, the check's in the mail.
everything just worked out. So I'm glad that you're doing this for free. No, I'm kidding.
Listen, we'll you don't have to worry about that. Like I said, it's an honor. Anything to help out. Again, look forward to seeing you on Friday. Again, thoughts and prayers to you and yours and your family on the passing of your father. We appreciate you giving us a bunch of time this evening, and we'll talk to you on Friday.
Thanks for having me, guys.
All right, you got it. Good stuff. Be well, David Feldman. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. You talk about the good guys in boxing trying to put things together, trying to do it the right way, and he is. And you can tell. And I spoke to him a couple of days ago about this because, and I know we're up against it. I felt for him because, as you know, my father passed several months ago. It's still very fresh. So I can totally empathize. Joey I, who's one of the best cutmen in the business, his father just passed as well. Mr. Feldman was a real good guy. Marty was a great guy, good character. So I know that his sons are hurting as well. So you just feel with that type of loss, you really do. And sometimes the best thing to do is to just you got to go on. You got to produce. You got to be productive.
I mean,
and stay busy.
Not to piggyback off of that, but my mother passed years ago, to the point where, and I always tell people who who are fresh off of family fatalities, I always tell them that it's like an open wound, and the only thing, it's like with an actual wound, the only thing that's going to heal it is time. And
you're right.
And time, he's going to bounce back, and you're going to bounce back as well.
Yep. It's like I said, there's a long road ahead, but you got to keep busy, and I look forward to calling the fights. I'll be doing the blow by blow. Mark Abrams, I'll be working with him doing the color commentary.
Big Mark.
So we'll have a little fun. We'll go back and forth as we always do. We get feisty on the air, and that's a good card. And I like the undercard, and he's right. For $25. You sit home and you watch some boxing on a Friday. Why not? And you get to see a living legend, and maybe he gets knocked out by a bareknuckler, and we're talking about it 5 years from now. Or
even if he knocks him out. But
exactly.
Bottom line is just as long as a decent fight.
Hey, that's all you're concerned about.
Yeah, just a decent fight.
I agree. All right, on the other side, news and notes to wrap it up. A couple minutes to play with. Again, good stuff from David Feldman. This is a Wednesday edition of Double Job Boxing Podcast, powered by the Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame.